So, who was gonna tell me that going through TSA now includes a full facial scan? Because if you couldn't tell, I flew to New Jersey for the holidays. Before I'm able to get to my gate, I'm standing in line waiting to go through TSA, and the agent was like,
"Please stare directly into this camera."
Now, initially, I was like, maybe I'm special, thinking I was just picked for a random fucking scan. That was until I started talking to people at my gate, and everybody was like, yeah, I had to get my face scanned too. Waggy. Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, you know what fucking time it is, bitch! It's time for the Daily Scream! Upon further research, I found out that since March, TSA has been sending airline passenger lists to ICE multiple times a week. Every passenger, every flight. Names, itineraries. And clearly, biometric data is next, if not already happening, because ICE then cross-checks those names and or faces against immigration databases, and they literally send agents to the airport to arrest people before they board. Airports are now immigration checkpoints. And the public, we weren't told at all. The New York Times has confirmed that this program has already led to arrests, including a 19-year-old college student at Boston Logan Airport. This girl was picked up at the gate and deported to Honduras 2 days later. She had no criminal record. She wasn't provided any warning. Just up and gone. And DHS is trying to gaslight everybody by saying, oh, this is routine information sharing. Nothing new. No! TSA's secure program was supposed to be about terrorist prevention, not turning domestic flights into a mass screening system. This is bulk surveillance, and everybody is being searched to find new people. And let's be very clear, name matching systems aren't always accurate. False positives constantly happen. And currently, there's no real correction process when ICE gets this shit wrong. For example, with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was illegally deported. And if this is routine, then why wasn't the public informed? Transparency shouldn't be controversial unless there's something to hide. So yeah, if you felt weird getting your face scanned by TSA recently, you weren't paranoid, you weren't imagining it. Domestic travel is quietly being turned into a surveillance tool. And that should scare the hell out of everybody. Because if they can use it for immigration, what else can they use it for? Right. We've had more shootings in the United States than we've had days in the calendar year. Let me say that again. We've had more shootings in the United States than days of the fucking year. That's not a metaphor. That is a statistic. This weekend alone, 2 students were killed at Brown University. Ella Cook and Muhammad Aziz Amirzakov. Ella was a sophomore. Muhammad was a freshman who wanted to become a neurosurgeon. 9 more people were injured. And final exams were canceled because students were running for their lives. And this wasn't just the only event that transpired. In Brooklyn, 6 teenagers ages 15 to 17 were shot outside of a birthday party. Fortunately, though they're in the hospital, they all survived. But we've now had hundreds of mass shootings this year alone. And one of the victims at Brown University also survived the Parkland shooting. Imagine surviving one massacre just to relive that same exact nightmare again. And every single time the response is the same. Thoughts and prayers. This isn't a gun problem, it's a mental health problem. Except here's the part that they don't say out loud. The same administration using mental health as a scapegoat for gun violence cut funding for mental health programs. They stripped grants meant for counselors in schools. The exact places they need help. You don't get to mourn with one hand and then defund prevention in another. Other countries have passed gun laws, and shocking to none, gun violence went down. So clearly, passing stricter gun laws isn't complicated, it's just a political inconvenience. And while we're watching this carnage unfold, Jewish families in Australia are grieving because of an anti-Semitic attack on people celebrating Hanukkah. 16 people were killed, families destroyed, children are traumatized, and instead of showing solidarity, Netanyahu used it as a political weapon, blaming Australia's Prime Minister for recognizing Palestine, as if recognizing Palestinian humanity somehow causes anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is real. It is violent. It should be condemned without hesitation. But exploiting Jewish grief to justify more violence anywhere? That's not justice, it's propaganda. What connects all of this is leaders refusing to take accountability, who trade human lives for power and tell us to pray instead of protecting us. We aren't unlucky, we are being failed deliberately. And I'm exhausted having our government watch us scream into a void full of bullet holes. To anybody in Australia who lost loved ones, I am so sorry for your loss. To the families of Ella and Muhammad, I am so sorry for your loss. To the children who were shot in Brooklyn, I'm hoping you have a quick and safe recovery. But we shouldn't just be sending thoughts and prayers. There needs to be a change. Well, y'all, looks like it's wraps for me. Like, I'm not cooked, babe. I am burnt. Reuters just casually dropped a bombshell, essentially stating that 500 people across the country have been hit with government investigations, threats, or punishments simply for existing in a way the current administration didn't like. Cute! Yeah, totally normal. Nothing to see here except the structural collapse of democracy as we know it. And look, this isn't about accountability or keeping people safe. This is retribution. Our government is openly going after people who disagree with the administration and attempting to ruin their lives. They aren't going after politicians or the media. No. It's university students, nonprofits, lawyers, state workers, journalists, literally just regular people who spoke up. You know, the exact groups that hold people in power accountable. The groups that dictators loathe. And that is the part that should scare everyone. This isn't just a one-off thing. It's a pattern. A full-blown government-wide trend where dissent equals punishment. It's the kind of thing you'd expect to find in a book titled Authoritarianism for Dummies. Not from a country that claims to be rooted in free speech. Because once a government realizes it can use power to silence anyone who disagrees with it, it does. And our government clearly is. And this isn't the type of thing that just stops. And it definitely doesn't wait until your opinion is the one on the chopping block. As someone whose entire job is yelling on the internet and keeping people informed on what's going on politically in the world, this genuinely terrifies me. If criticizing people in power, which is something I regularly do, gets people targeted, babe, I'm screwed. So yeah, this isn't about one moment, one person, or a one-off scandal. It's the government testing how far it can push retaliation and whether anyone will notice before the ability to push back is gone. Free speech only works if people aren't punished for it. And right now, that line is being completely bulldozed. Say what you will about Erica Kirk, but that woman has one of the nastiest, scariest bitch faces I have ever seen in my life. Oh my God, this photo alone is terrifying. Like, this is so scary. Not to mention, she literally said she could forgive the man who shot and killed her husband. But anytime an interviewer asks her about Candace Owens, she turns into a fucking demon. There is something, there's something off here. There is something off and scary and diabolical and sinister and evil about this. There's just no way. There is just, oh my God, I'm imagining being one of her daughters and her singing me a lullaby. Oh my God. If Erica Kirk sang me a lullaby to sleep, I would feel like I was in a horror movie. I would feel like I was in The Conjuring. I would feel like I was in The Conjuring. When I look at her, this is the only tune I think of. Tell me you don't see it! Tell me you don't see it! Tell me you don't see it! Oh my God, literal shivers down my spine! Can someone explain to me why medication costs the same as front row seat Beyonce tickets to every concert at every fucking tour stop? And before anybody hits me with but that's just the way the system is. No. That's just big pharma price gouging everyone like someone selling the last bottle of water at Coachella. That is until Medicare finally said, actually, no, babe, we're negotiating. Thanks to the 2022 prescription drug law. I know, shocking, this country actually passed something helpful. For the first time ever, Medicare can negotiate prices for certain high-cost prescription drugs. And starting in 2026, people on Medicare are projected to save billions of dollars out of pocket. As in, there's gonna be less of, do I pay my rent or refill my meds? And more of, wow, I can breathe and actually keep my lights on. And shocking to none, Big Pharma is pissed. These are the same companies charging Americans 4 to 8 times more than people in other countries pay. Did you know the company Merck charges Americans with cancer $206,000 a year for Keytruda, a drug that costs $80,000 in Germany and $42,000 in Japan? And now they filed multiple lawsuits to keep drug prices high for patients, all while spending $30 million in lobbying. Imagine being filthy rich and you sue to keep cancer drugs expensive. That's not just evil, that's diabolical and inhumane. And even if you're not on Medicare yet, you definitely love somebody who is. I've literally watched family members stress over whether they can afford to stay alive. The 2022 prescription drug law literally just means that more people can stay on their meds without having to play, which bill should I not pay this month? So yeah, this is a huge win for patients and Big Pharma is doing everything they can to take it all back. If you're tired of paying luxury prices for medication, then pay attention to this fight. It is time to put an end to Big Pharma greed. It's actually ridiculous. An esteemed director and his wife were brutally murdered in their own home. And instead of providing his condolences, the President of the United States blamed their deaths on Trump derangement syndrome. Trump Derangement syndrome? Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, you know what fucking time it is, bitch. It's time for the Daily Scream. Let me get this straight. When Charlie Kirk was murdered, MAGA suddenly discovered what empathy was, stating things like making jokes are unacceptable, that certain commentary was dangerous. Even our vice president said that people should be reported